Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. Today we're making zucchini fritters, mainly because I found some shredded zucchini in my freezer and I wanted to do something with it, but not the usual. So I was looking for some recipes and I found a recipe for zucchini fritters, but it had a lot of ingredients in that I didn't really want to have in a zucchini fritter. So I kind of looked around at zucchini pancake recipes, zucchini fritter recipes, and I combined them to create one that I liked. So here's that recipe. These were actually really good, and I will definitely make them again and again until I use up all that frozen zucchini in my freezer. So here's the recipe. You need 2 large fresh zucchini, shredded, or about 4 cups of frozen shredded zucchini, which is like a 1-quart freezer bag. You need 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt divided, 2 large eggs beaten. If you want to make this vegan, you can use the equivalent of 2 eggs of egg replacer for your binder, a 1/2 cup of chopped onion, 3/4 cup of flour, or if you want to make this gluten-free, you can use 3/4 cup of Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. You also need oil for frying. You can use either olive oil or canola oil or whatever oil you like. And then you'll need some condiments to serve with your zucchini fritters, like sour cream, hot sauces, ketchup, ranch dressing. You can mix up special sauce, which is equal amounts of ketchup and mayonnaise. You can make hot ranch by using about a 1/4 cup of ranch dressing to a teaspoon of hot sauce if you don't like it too hot, or a tablespoon if you like it hot. So those are some suggested condiments. Here's how you make your zucchini fritters. First of all, you want to get your zucchini. If you're using fresh zucchini, you're going to wash them, trim the ends off, and shred them in the larger holes of a grater. I used the grater on my food processor. It went really quick. If you want to do this in the summertime, if you want to freeze zucchini to have to use in various recipes, you can take zucchini and do the same thing and fill up a quart freezer bag and put it in your freezer. You don't have to blanch it or anything. But what I do is usually people give me zucchini that are like giant, like those ones that, I don't know, you could make them into boat shoes or something. You have to take the seeds and the insides out of those because they're so big. If you don't remove the seeds and that pulp, it's really, really watery. So if you want to use like a giant size zucchini to do this, or if you want to freeze zucchini, you take those big zucchinis, take the seeds and the pulp out, and then just shred the actual meat of the zucchini. So I imagine if you're doing this with fresh zucchini now, you'll be getting them at the grocery store, and they're not enormous. They're probably medium-sized zucchini. So probably 2 or even 3 zucchini for this recipe. And you just want to shred them up and put them into a bowl, and you're going to sprinkle them with 1 teaspoon of the salt and mix that in real good and let that sit for like 10 to 15 minutes until you can see some water coming up, because you really want to get the moisture out of the zucchini. If you're using frozen, you want to thaw it completely. Place that zucchini in a colander in your sink and just let it drain. And then from here, we're going to be doing the same thing, whether fresh or frozen zucchini. You want to squeeze the water out of it, get as much water as you can out. So what I did, I squeezed it with my hands in a colander until I had it reasonably dry. Then I'll take it and roll it in a thin cotton towel and then squeeze that over the sink. So if you have like one of those towels that are like, they always say they're for drying glasses, but they call them like a flour sack towel. It's just a real thin cotton towel. They work perfectly. Just put your zucchini in there, roll it up, and then kind of twist it so you're squeezing that liquid out, but you're not smashing the zucchini. This is good to do if you're making anything with zucchini, honestly, muffins or cake or anything, zucchini bread, because it really gets a lot of that moisture out. So once you have it as dry as you think you can get it, dump it all into a large mixing bowl, And now you're going to add your onion and your eggs and stir that up. In a smaller bowl, mix your flour, salt, pepper, and baking powder. Mix that up real well, and then add that to your large bowl and mix it real well. Now, while that's sitting, heat your oil up in a nice large skillet. Make your oil about a 1/4 inch thick because you're frying these. You want them to be cooking on the sides, the edges, as well as the bottom. So get your oil heating, and you can put a little blop of that batter in there to watch it so you'll know when to put your fritters in. Once your oil is hot enough, you can take a 1/4 cup measure or a nice cookie scoop of about the same size and take a scoop of the mixture, put it into the oil, and flatten that out with a spoon or a spatula to make it like the same thickness throughout, and it'll be about 3 to 4 inches in diameter. And put your fritters in there, and you want to fry them 4 to 5 minutes per side or as needed. So what you want is when you put them in there and they're frying, you want them to kind of solid up before you turn them so they don't fall apart. So watch them, and you'll see that the edges start to look like they're cooked, and the top will set up a little bit firm. Don't try and turn them ahead of time because they'll fall right apart. You have to get them, to really solidify before you can turn them, and that does take about 4 to 5 minutes. You're going to be over medium heat. If you need to reduce your heat, if you feel like they're burning or something like that, you can reduce your heat. But wait till they get solid before you turn them. Turn them real carefully so you don't splash yourself with the hot oil, and then fry the other side, the same thing, 4 to 5 minutes. You want to make sure they're nice and dark browned. We'll have pictures up on the Facebook page as well as in our newsletter so you can see what they look like when they're about done. You want them to be nice, set up, well cooked, and nicely browned before you take them out of the oil. You're going to take them out and set them on a plate that has paper towels on it to drain that oil off, and you want to serve them warm. These are great for a side dish. They're also great for the main part of the meal because it makes like 10 fritters. And if you have all those toppings, they were really good. We had some left over, so I took them for my lunch the next day, and they heated up great in my toaster oven at work. These were a really nice thing to make. I liked them a lot, and I'll definitely make these again because I actually have more shredded zucchini in my freezer that needs to be used up. So I really actually like this recipe, and I love having my frozen zucchini in the freezer for other things. I never thought about doing something like this with it, though. I usually freeze maybe about 10 quarts of shredded zucchini every year, and I'll make zucchini cakes, zucchini muffins. Sometimes I'll put it in my vegetable soup because it kind of cooks up and you don't know it's there, so don't tell my husband that it's there. But I'll put that in. I'll do it with I'll saute it in a skillet with onions and peppers and then just put eggs in it for like a scrambled egg kind of a thing. I've made it into a frittata, which is kind of the same thing. You just let it cook in the skillet without moving it around. And it's sort of like a quiche without a crust, So having that shredded zucchini is really nice, especially when people just give them to you, which is the best thing about zucchini. People give them to you, and then you can make them into something delicious. So this is a good recipe for those donated zucchinis anytime someone gives you one. I hope you give it a try because I really liked it.
And make sure to check us out online on Facebook and Instagram at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Twitter at Mobile Mary Mac and Mary Mac Podcast, and on our website, marymacpodcast.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.